Welcome to U.S. History since 1877, the online course. I'm Dr. Kodam Thara, and this is an introduction to our course online. And I want to take a moment to introduce you not only to me, but what this course is going to be like for you and what your expectations should be and what I expect from you. So let's go over some of the basics first and foremost. This is how I spell my name, and this is how I pronounce my name, Kodam Thara. It's really simple and straightforward. I know it's long, but I promise you it's not that complicated. And the building that you see pictured here on the bottom right, that's the old science building. That's where you can find me on campus if you actually happen to be on campus at Southwestern Oklahoma State University. So if you are on campus and looking for the science building. The science building is directly across from the administration building and a little bit in front of the Stafford building. So you'll know that the Stafford building is almost directly across from the student union. And the Stafford building also has two buildings just south of it to each of its corners. One is the administration building, the other is the science building. If you were to go downstairs, and let me see if I can mark this for you, there is a little entrance here down into the basement. In fact, if you go down into into those doors, on the first door on the left is the office suite that I am in, and that will take you directly into my office suite. It's also where a few of the other historians, actually most of the other historians are, as well as the political scientists. And you'll find me in the back corner in 101E. My office hours are Monday, Wednesday from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. and Tuesday, Thursday, 12:30 to 2 p.m. So Monday and Wednesday are entirely office hours day. I am in my office getting work done, or more than likely just talking to other people, just chit-chatting and, shooting the breeze. And avoiding work at all costs. But if I'm not in my office, it's probably because I stepped out for just a minute. So don't walk away and leave, because I promise you, I'm walking away just for a minute. I will be around somewhere. Now on Fridays, it's by appointment only, because I work from home on those days because I commute to Weatherford. And so if you only can meet on Fridays and you'd like to meet with me in person, please let me know in advance and I will make sure to be there on campus to meet with you. I'm also available via Zoom if you'd like. Now, if you have questions that can be easily answered, or that you would rather ask me other ways, you can message me via Canvas. You can also email me directly. That's my email address, sanu.kodamthara@swasu.edu. Or you can call me directly. That is my phone number to my office specifically, 580-774-3236. That is my number. You're not going to get anybody else but me. I'm usually not in my office to pick up my phone unless it's Monday and Wednesday, or those specific office hour times. But leave a voicemail. I can listen to my voicemail at any time, and if I need to, I will return your call. But I'm also willing to meet with you via Zoom if that's what you prefer. If that's something that you're okay with, just let me know and I can schedule a time to meet with you via Zoom. Also, that's not a problem with me either. So it's not a big deal. I want to make sure that you have complete access to every communication, every form of communication that connects you to me in case you have questions, problems, concerns, and that way we can get those things taken care of as quickly as possible and as efficiently as possible. So with all that in mind, I want to tell you some of the ways and some of the tools that you'll need to succeed in this course, and quite frankly, in all of your online courses and in any of your courses, actually. And that is, one, check your Canvas and your regular email at least once a day, if not more often, but make it once a day for now. at least to create the discipline. I know that many of you have a tendency to check Canvas or even your email just whenever the Spirit leads you. That's got to stop. Because at this level, at college, your professors, even your classmates, especially if you're doing things like group work, people are always communicating with you and you have to stay on top of it. And that's just, unfortunately, it is what it is, but that's training you for what's to come in your professional life. That's just how it goes. Whether you are wanting to be a pharmacist or a social media star, you have to learn how to check your email regularly and learn how to stay connected to your communications. So check your Canvas, check your email regularly. In this class, there is a weekly commitment because while your assignments and your exams are due on the first of every month, which we'll talk about in a minute, your lectures and your mini quizzes are going to take up the majority of your time in this class. The lectures are long, and I do that intentionally because it gives you the chance to absorb the information, but at your pace. So you get to pause when you need to pause. You can take notes at your pace. You can rewind if you need to rewind, do what you need to do, but you get to take the time that you need to listen when it's convenient for you and how it's convenient for you. So if you're listening while you're doing errands at home, like cleaning up your house, or if you're listening while you're, sitting at your desk and taking notes, regardless, do what's convenient for you, but you've got to do it in a way that is most effective and easiest for you. And one that allows for you to take notes in the best way possible, because every question on the mini quiz, every question on your exam will come directly from the lectures and nowhere else. Now, I do provide a link to a textbook, but the textbook is only there to provide answers in case you need it, or like contextual information. But the questions from the actual assignments, the quizzes and the exams, those are coming from the lectures themselves. So it's important that you give yourself the time you need to listen to those lectures at your pace, and be able to really listen and learn at your rate. And that also means and implies, at least, that you should not wait until the very last minute to complete the work. It's a lot of information I'm packing in. For every lecture, let's say, on average, it's about an hour long, which is about right because, well, actually, it's not. There are stuff that I am cutting out for you just for the sake of cutting it out. But you are getting about an hour and 15, sometimes an hour and a half worth of lecture, which is about what you would get in the classroom. If you wait until the last minute, if the assignments are due on the 1st and you're waiting until the 30th to listen to the lectures, do all of the quizzes, and do all the homework, and do the exams, you're not going to get it done. So don't wait. Okay, now, if you need to communicate with me, if you got to connect with me, the easiest and most effective way to get in touch with me would be through email or through Canvas. Now, sometimes Canvas gets a little wonky and I may not get a Canvas message until 24 hours until after you send it to me or whatever. So if you would prefer sending it through SWOSU email, that's fine. Now, here's something that you should know. If you are emailing me from your personal email account, if you decide to email me from your Gmail account, just know there is a good chance that that's going to end up in my spam account. So if you're going to email me, make sure that you do it from both accounts, from Canvas and from SWOSU, and from Gmail, whatever. But let me know in multiple ways, whatever it is that you want me to know. And give me a chance, give me a little bit of time before I reply to you, because I may not be able to reply to you immediately. I check my email regularly. I check my email multiple times a day, and I check usually until 8 p.m. Monday through Friday. Sometimes I'll be able to respond during the weekends, but after 8 p.m., I'm not going to respond, just so you're aware. Now, that said, please allow me 24 to 48 hours to respond. But if you don't hear from me after that time frame, if for whatever reason I go ghost on you and I don't respond, email me again, because something has happened. Either I didn't get your email or I've completely forgotten because it's gotten lost in all of the other emails that I've gotten. So do not let me forget to respond to your email. In every semester, I usually average 120 to 150 students. And then on top of that, there are all the other obligations that come with being a faculty member. And so it's easy to get lost in all of that noise. And so I want to make sure that I get to you and I get to your request. So if I don't respond to you after 48 hours, make sure you get my attention and say, hey, Dr. K, I emailed you about this a couple of days ago. I'm not sure if you saw it or not, but here's what's going on. Please, please, please do that. Otherwise, I don't want to let that go, and I don't want you to be forgotten amongst the fray. Okay, so let's talk about what this course is going to give you overall. So technically the course is called U.S. History since 1877, but really this is an overview of American history since 1865, because American historians widely believe that there is no way that you can fully comprehend the 20th century without understanding the impact of Reconstruction, which is the 12-year time period that comes right after the Civil War. So you are getting 12 years of history for free. All right, you're welcome. We're not even charging you for that. So you are getting a sense of the foundation, where the foundation of the modern 20th century comes from, in these 12 years that come after the Civil War. And included in this course is essentially an introduction into how historians come to their conclusions, how historians really figure out what's happening at the heart of the narrative. I mean, it's one thing when, Abraham Lincoln writes something, or Martin Luther King Jr. writes something, but historians want to get to the heart of what's actually happening, right? Because everybody has their own perspective, but each perspective is skewed by something, right? I might remember something one way, but I'm also only going to see things from my perspective, and I'm only going to remember things from my perspective. And you, who may have seen the same exact thing, will remember it in an entirely different way because your perspective is different. So the way historians learn things about history and the historical narrative is from primary sources, and primary sources are just sources from the time period itself. Just think of it as an eyewitness to history. So it's not just taking Abraham Lincoln's account into the narrative, but it's also looking at soldiers from the Union side and soldiers from the Confederacy side, and the narrative of someone who had been enslaved, or someone who was a part of the war effort in some kind of way. I mean, that's what we're talking about. And a primary source can be anything from a diary to a speech to a song. It can even be, a dress. It can be a suit. Anything from that time period is a primary source, and you are going to be learning about primary sources as we go through this course. This course is also an exercise in critical thinking, reading, and writing. You are going to be pushed in your assignments to think critically, you are going to be asked how and why questions. I'm not going to ask you dates. I'm not interested in when something happened. It's good to know the timeline of how things happened or when things happened and in what order, but I want to make sure you understand why things happen, what led to something else, right? The impact of different events. Now, this also means that there is a lot going on in this class. This is a rigorous schedule. There's a lot of information because, I mean, think about this. We are talking about human history here. And even if we're just talking about the United States, remember, there are multiple things happening all at the same time. And when they're all happening at the same time, they all have an impact on each other. Think about what's going on literally right now in this moment. All of the things that you are being bombarded with, right? It's all the things happening all at the same time. And I've got to tell you, this is life. This is how it has always been. There has never been any simplicity. There has never been a time where it's only been the one thing. And that's because this is what human beings do. Human beings are always drama. Human beings are always chaos because we are all different and we are all people with different perspectives and different ideas and different opinions. And at times they all clash and at times they all push back against each other. And so because of that, there's a lot of push and pull. And so that's what we're really going to study here, right? So let's talk about how we're going to study these things. Now, this was not supposed to happen all at the same time, but I'll show you what you're going to be doing over the course of this semester. So you are going to have quite a bit of coursework, but it's spread out over the semester. So everything is already open to you as of August 18th, or the first day of the semester, I should say. So once the semester begins, you go through each module in order. So I want you to look again. I want you to look again at your Canvas page, and you'll see the modules presented in front of you. So when you look at the modules, you'll notice that you can't go from one thing to the next until you've completed each item. You have to complete each item in sequential order, right? You can't skip anything. Everything has to be completed, right? Now, every unit is due on the first of each month. You'll notice that, let's go back here. You'll notice that I've listed those things here. Let me highlight these again. So on the first of the month, just to make things easier for you, is when everything is due. So homework and exams are going to be due. So the Unit 1 exam and homework will be due September 1st. Unit 2 homework and exams due October 1st, November 1st, and then December 1st. Now, the only exception to that, let me go back. The only exception to that, of course, is the Unit 4 exam. The Unit 4 exam is the final, and the final will be due December 9th. So you have a little bit of extra time because it is the final exam. Now, here's the kicker that a lot of people can take advantage of and do take advantage of, and that is you can work at your own pace. That's the kicker. You can work at your own pace. So once the course is opened up, if you have, 8 weeks of free time and you want to be able to get it done, then feel free. You can absolutely get it done. You are more than welcome to get it done. Now, I encourage you, I'm going to emphasize this here at the beginning. I'm going to encourage you to wait. Do the first unit, but wait until I have graded and given you feedback on the Unit 1 homework and exams, because Once you get feedback, you'll know what it is that I'm looking for. And that way, if you've made mistakes, if you've done something egregiously wrong, you're not going to make the same mistakes over and over and over again. Okay. So make sure that if you want to work ahead that you can, but you will wait until I've graded that first unit and have given you feedback. So that way you know what you need to do. Now, let me talk about what that work is going to look like. So first you'll have lecture mini quizzes. So after you've watched each lecture, you'll have to take a mini quiz. The mini quizzes are anywhere from 6 to 9 questions. Usually they're multiple choice, they're fill in the blank, true, false, very easy. They are open note. Okay? I want you to take notes and I want you to use those notes to your advantage. The better your notes, the better they are for your quizzes. Now, you have as many chances as possible to take and pass these quizzes. In fact, I don't want you to just pass these quizzes. I want you to make a perfect score on these quizzes. I want you to make a perfect score. You cannot move on into the rest of the module until you've made a perfect score on the quizzes. So you have to make an 8 out of 8, a 9 out of 9, a 10 out of 10, whatever. And then you can move on to the next lecture. That's the deal. But remember, it's open note. All right. Each module will also have what I call a video reflection. Video reflections are anywhere from 4 to 6 minutes long. And these videos are from sources like PBS or I think there might be one from NBC News, whatever, but it's essentially covering a historical event, and it usually includes, actually, they all include historians who are talking about each event. Your job is to watch the videos and answer the questions in the assignment directions. Super simple. Now, the other assignment, the other homework assignment in each module is a primary source exercise. For this, you will have a primary source exercise that I provide. You will look at the primary source, you'll examine it, you'll analyze it, and then you'll answer the corresponding questions. And here's the thing that I want to emphasize for both the video reflections and the primary source exercises. Read the directions and follow them carefully. Okay? Read the directions and follow them carefully. That's important because if you don't, I count off. Here's the other thing. Spelling and grammar count. Spelling and grammar count because you are in college and college students should know how to spell and how to write properly. Okay? Now, unit exams. There are going to be 4, right? The first 3 are due on the 1st of the month. The last one is due December 9th. Each exam is going to have 6 short answer questions. That's it. Short answers, though. This is not, multiple choice or true false. You are going to have to write, and you are going to have to write a paragraph for each of these questions. Now, there are 75 minutes to complete this test, unless you have a note from the Dean of Students that requires you to have additional time, and that you will need to provide if you haven't already. Like the mini quizzes, these exams are also open note. Now, I am going to say this multiple times, but I'm going to say this as the first time. You are not allowed to use Google, ChatGPT, or any other AI device to help you with your exam. You are not allowed to copy paste from the online textbook. You are not allowed to use any other outside source to help you answer any of the questions for this exam. The material must come from the lecture. You must demonstrate that you have listened to, learned, and understood the lecture material and have answered accordingly. If not, that's an automatic 0. Okay? That needs to be made clear here. that needs to be made clear here. I cannot emphasize that enough. And I'll explain to you why I am going so hard against AI, particularly in the online class. I'll talk about that in a minute, but in the in-person class it's different, but here this is how it's like. Okay. So there are 4 units, 4, as you'll see if you click on modules on Canvas, you'll see how it's all separated. In each unit, in each module unit, each unit is separated and includes the following. There's an introduction, and in the introduction it explains what you should expect. For each unit, it'll explain the lectures and what you can expect in each lecture. So then after you get through the introduction, you'll see a lecture. After every single lecture, there's a mini quiz. So each lecture has its own mini quiz. So for example, Reconstruction has a mini quiz, then there's the Gilded Age mini quiz, then there's the Freedom's Boundaries mini quiz. That's a unit 1. Then after you get through those lectures and mini quizzes, there's a topic assignment. There are at least 3 topics. There are at least 3 lectures in each unit. There's one unit that's going to have 4 lectures, okay? You have 1 month to complete each unit. And I've said this multiple times, is due the first of the next month, and you must complete each task in order. Now, many of you are going to ask this question, so I'm going to go ahead and answer this now. I do not offer extra credit. And the reason why I don't offer extra credit is because you are getting a lot of opportunities to earn credit already. Right? With the multiple mini quizzes, there are going to be 13 mini quizzes, which you have to earn perfect scores on. So that's credit right there, plus all of the homework assignments, plus the exams. There is no need for extra credit. Okay. All right. Let's talk about plagiarism and AI, since that's been fresh on our minds here. So let me explain why AI and plagiarism is, let me explain what plagiarism is. So plagiarism is you taking credit for somebody else's work, even if you're using your own work from another assignment. If you did an assignment for another American history class and you've copy pasted that and put that into an assignment for this class, you are plagiarizing yourself. That is a form of plagiarism. If you are copying somebody else's work, or if somebody is copying your work and taking credit for that, you are then contributing to their plagiarism. Okay? So in other words, nobody is learning here. And that's a problem. You're not really learning, you're not really growing. And that's the purpose of the class, especially when the goal of the class is to help you develop your critical thinking and learning skills and your reading skills, right? And that's going to be especially important in the face of AI. Listen, AI is supposed to be a tool, not a crutch. It's supposed to be a tool. But if you're using it to do all of the work for you, then when you get to the point where you have to use AI to determine your diagnoses, when you have to use AI to read and translate things for you, including your leases and your contracts, then you're in trouble. It's important for you to know what words mean, why people are saying what they are saying, what is implied in certain words and in phrases. And this is how you are trained to do that. This is where you build that skill set. AI is a tool, not a crutch. It's important that you remember that. And so particularly in the online class, because I cannot see you, you and I don't interact face to face, I can't allow any use of AI. So here's what happens if you use it. The very first violation of the rule on either the use of plagiarism or AI will result in a 0 for the assignment. I will also let the chair of my department know that this is going on, so that way they're aware of the situation. A second violation will result in an F for the course and a message to the chair, but I will also fill out a form with the dean of students that creates an official file for you with the university as someone who has either plagiarized or violated the course policy for AI use. Okay? I do take this very seriously. I take it very seriously because I am counting on you to learn how to think and read and write critically for yourself. Because at some point you are going to be a professional something, whether it is a carpenter, a plumber, a nurse, a pharmacist, whatever. You are going to have to be required to read contracts, read things that require your ability to understand them. And if you're using AI to interpret those things, you're going to get screwed over. And somebody at the end of the day is going to be taking your money. That's what this is about. I'm just saying you've got to develop these skills now, right now. Okay. Now, if you are having trouble, let's say you're having trouble with Canvas, you have trouble accessing your Canvas messages or accessing Canvas in general, the people you need to contact are the good people at CETL. I've given you their contact information on the syllabus. If there is an emergency situation you're dealing with, knock on wood, I'm going to just knock on wood real quick. Either there's an emergency situation with you or a family member and you cannot attend to school matters immediately, rather than contact me or your other professors individually, contact the Dean of Students office. They have an online form through their website. If you fill out the form with details of your emergency, once they verify everything, they will contact your professors for you. That saves you so much time and it's one less thing to worry about. Listen, life happens and sometimes life really sucks. So rather than add to that burden that you are bearing, what if you just let the Dean of Students office give you a little bit of a break? Okay, so keep that in mind. Now, if you're having trouble with this class, if there is something about the material that you don't understand, something that I said in the lecture that it was confusing, if there is something about the assignments, something that I graded that you don't understand, please, please, please talk to me. Send me a message, send me an email, call me, leave a voicemail, come visit me during office hours. That's what I'm here for. That's why we are supposed to be there during office hours. We are there to answer your questions. So please don't sit there and struggle. I will do whatever I can to make things easier for you and better for you and to help you through the rest of this semester, okay? You can find all of our contact information on the syllabus. So even if you forget, click on the syllabus and you'll see it there. Everything is readily available for you. Here are a few dates to remember. The last day to withdraw from this class without permission, just on your own, if you feel like you're just too far behind and things are too far gone, it's October 31st. Now, before you withdraw, let me know, because there are things on Canvas that I can see that you can't. And so if I feel like there's a way to save your grade and to help you, I'll tell you, okay? I don't want you to waste your money and take a class twice if you don't have to. I want you to be able to get your money's worth, because this is a class you have to take. So make sure that you get your money's worth, okay? The last day to withdraw with permission, so that means asking me and then I would actually give you the W. That's December 3rd. After December 3rd, I will not give any withdrawals. So make sure that by December 3rd, you've made your decision. I think I mentioned this earlier, but just in case, your final exam is Tuesday, December 9th. 2025. But of course, if you want to take it early, you can. If you are running ahead of schedule and things are going great for you and you don't want to wait until December 9th, you are absolutely free to do so. But again, I'm going to emphasize that for those of you who like to work ahead of schedule, please wait until I have graded Unit 1 for you. So that way you know what my grading is like, what my expectations are, and that way you can adjust accordingly. Now, we have a lot to learn, a lot to go over this semester. So I want to make sure that you are prepared, that you have what you need to do well in this class. So if there is anything that you need, any questions that you have, please, please, please make sure that you contact me and let me know so that we can work together and help you succeed in this class to help you move on to bigger and brighter things. Okay, great. Let's get moving and let's move on to the next step.